Shalom, shalom. What's up? It's Brother Yakub Woodrow back again. This time we're going to do one we call Note to Self. Things that I learned from opening up this apocrypha. One of my favorite books. And today I'm going to be reading from one of my favorite books in it, the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. I'm sorry. I did that last time. Ecclesiastes is in, you can find that in your regular Bible, but Ecclesiasticus is found in the Apocrypha. It's also called Sirach. We're going to start off at verse 4, chapter 4, verses 20 through 22. And it goes like this. Observe the opportunity and beware of evil, and be not ashamed when it concerneth thy soul. For there is a shame that bringeth sin, and there is a shame which is glory and grace. If you go to chapter 42, it'll break down which ones you should be ashamed of and which things you should not be ashamed of. That whole glory and grace is explained right there. Just read that chapter. Y'all get a minute, get y'all a little homework. Chapter verse 22. Accept no person against thy soul, and let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall. Read that again. Accept no person against thy soul, and let not the reverence of any man cause thee to fall. And let's get it from the Good News Translation. Know how we do. Make sure everybody understand where we at. Self-confidence is what they call it here. Take advantage of opportunities, but guard yourselves against evil. Humility deserves honor and respect, but a low opinion of yourself leads to sin. This is true. You hear a lot of stories about people doing not so good things with their life or just making not so good choices. A lot of times what comes into play and what helped them to make that choice or to do what they was doing, a lot of times you hear it in there. They were suffering from low self-esteem. So in order to feel like they belonged or to feel beautiful or to feel desired or feel like they was cool or accepted or down, whatever you want to use, they did these things because they didn't feel good about themselves. A lot of people, even to this day, do a lot of things based on the fact that they don't really feel good about themselves. So, this is verse 22. Do not let others have their way at your expense. Do not bring on your own ruin by giving up your rights. I'm going to read a little further. This is verse 23. Never hesitate to speak out when the occasion calls for it. Don't hide your wisdom. The Greek says don't hide your wisdom for the sake of appearances. Like don't hold back what you got to say just for the sake of looking good in front of somebody or for fear that you might look bad in front of somebody. Like don't hold back your wisdom. This is Sirach chapter 5, 9 and 10. We did this the last time, but they go together. It says, winnow not with every wind, and go not into every way. For so doth the sinner that hath a double tongue. Be steadfast in thy understanding, and let thy word be the same. This is the Good News Translation, how they break it down. Sincerity and self-control. Be certain about what you believe, and consistent in what you say. Don't try to please everyone or agree with everything people say. The Greek adds, this is what a double-tongued sinner does. So, that in mind, I wanted to touch on something that I had heard about a while ago, but never really incorporated it where it fits in with that same thing with just the way how you feel about yourself and things you might do because you don't necessarily feel good about yourself. And it's something called the covert contract that a lot of us make unknowingly. So let me kind of break down what that is. The covert contract is an agreement you haven't actually made, but which you believe to be solid. Covert contracts occur when you have a plan in your head, some sort of trade, but that is never explicitly stated. Explicit means stated clearly in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. Meaning you was very plain about it. When it come time for payment and it falls through, you feel cheated. But your spouse, or is the way I looked it up at, was talking about in couples, but it can also apply to other parts of life too, as we'll see as we read on. Your spouse is oblivious. Oblivious means not aware or not concerned about what is happening around one. Like they got no idea what you're talking about or what you're mad for. And the source that I got this from is an article online called Covert Contracts, Expectations in Marriage, Uncovering Intimacy. But like I said, it can even be like at work. As we read on, you'll understand, if you don't get it yet, what we're saying. And this is something that the brother Breeze said, don't bring up the problem if you're not going to bring up the solution. So this is how to stop making covert contracts. The key, or how to end one. The key to ending a covert contract is the same as what needed to prevent it. You need to be very open about everything you want and expect. Now this I'm going to read from the brother. It's a book, and I actually have the book downloaded on my phone. It's an audio book. Well, I have the audio book, but there is an actual physical book that you can get for people who rather just have their books physically in their hands so that they can read it and turn the pages. And the book is called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert A. Glover. Now, I'm going to read just a little summary that's on his page, but just in case something I seen a couple of my brothers doing that I feel like I should do because I am reading something of somebody's. It's called Fair Use. In United States copyright law, the doctrine that brief excerpts of copyright material may under certain circumstances be quoted verbatim for purposes such as criticism, news, reporting, teaching, and research. We're researching right now. Without the need for permission from or payment to the copyright holder. So I'm going to read. This is called the Nice Guy Syndrome. And this is something that I definitely suffer from in my life because of low self-esteem. And it goes like this. The Nice Guy Syndrome. A nice guy's primary goal is to make other people happy. Nice guys are dependent on external validation and avoid conflict like the plague. Nice guys are guided by the following 3 covert contracts. Like I said earlier, it's more than one. It's not just between a person and their spouse. So the first one is, if I am a good guy, that everyone will like me and love me, and people I desire will desire me. The second one is, if I meet people's needs without them having to ask, then they will meet my needs without me having to ask. I definitely believed that at one point. This is the third one. If I do everything right, then I will have a smooth, problem-free life. There's a lot of people out there that believe that. I used to be one of them. These covert contracts operate at an unconscious level. They don't work for a number of reasons, but nice guys are convinced they should. Because most nice guys believe they have kept their side of the contract, they often feel helpless and resentful when other people in the world don't keep their side of the contract. Now, that was an excerpt from the Nice Guy Syndrome at drglover.com if you wanted to go and check it out. And the name of the whole book, once again, is No More Mr. Nice Guy, a proven plan to getting what you want in love, sex, and life by Dr. Robert A. Glover. Check it out. It's a very good, interesting, and informative read, for real. But getting back to the whole thing here, like as we begin to value ourselves at our true worth, like the scriptures say, we won't feel the need to try to cut these contracts and try to put ourselves out there for things that might happen or that we hope will happen. You'd be more apt to, going back on what I said earlier, let's read it again, be more apt to be steadfast in your understanding and let your word be the same. Be certain about what you believe and consistent in what you say. Like, really ask for what you want. Say up front what you would like to happen and basically negotiate with whoever you want something from or you want something to happen, just like negotiating a contract for work or whatever. Like, if I do this much work, I want this much money. As opposed to just saying, oh, I'm just going to do the work and hopefully they'll see me working hard and they ask you how much you like to get paid and you just be like, oh, surprise me. And then when they surprise you, you really be surprised because it was nowhere near what you thought that the work was worth to you. So it's basically about respecting yourself enough and having enough confidence in the gifts that the Most High has given you that you ask for exactly what you feel like you deserve or what you want. And that way nobody have a reason to be mad at anybody, because even in that situation, if the person say, oh, I can't afford that, then you still doing each other a favor because you letting them know, okay, well, you should get somebody else to provide the service, as opposed to you just doing it and then hoping that they gonna bless you with what you actually wanted when you wasn't man, or if it's your lady, listen to a woman enough to say what you was expecting off top. Can't really blame that on nobody but ourselves. What I heard somebody say, in life you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And I've definitely seen that happen more than one time in my life, so I agree with that. And I'm not gonna hold y'all long. This was a quick one. And just basically value yourself at your true worth. Let me get one more scripture out of the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. This is chapter 10, and we're going to get out of it verse, where was it at? I just seen it. 28. It says, my child, I'm reading from the Good News Translation, my child, keep your self-respect, but remain modest. Value yourself at your true worth. There is no excuse for a person to run himself down. No one respects a person who has no respect for himself. That's the bottom line right there. No one respects a person who has no respect for himself. So respect yourself enough to know what you bring to the table and negotiate as thus, as opposed to just showing up and wanting somebody to give you what you think you deserve. And with that being said, that's it for this one. Peace and shalom, and prayerfully I'll be back at y'all again soon. Love.